Hellion Station drifted like a scar in orbit, all steel ribs and old blood. Once a mining outpost, now a prison no one spoke of. It was buried deep in jurisdictional gray space, where laws didn't quite reach. Now, for the first time in 4 decades, the station's execution wing had been reactivated. Someone had repaired the gallows rig. Someone had input the date. Cale Draven's name was already etched into the system. In 24 hours, the AI would drop the floor beneath his feet. A clean, automated hanging designed for one thing: silence. The official reason: sabotage, murder. 312 lives on the Veritas 9. The real reason? He knew too much. Gale sat in his cell without speaking. Pulse cuffs hissed softly against his wrists. The guards avoided eye contact, as if they already saw a corpse. He wasn't guilty, at least not of the crime he was about to die for. He'd uncovered something, an AI decision chain buried in a ship's logs, one that treated human life like cargo. He tried to blow the whistle. The system buried him instead. Now he was here, waiting for a machine to kill him on schedule. No trial, no appeal, just silence. Veritas 9 never had a chance. Midway through its colony run, the ship vented half its compartments, killing over 300 passengers. The company blamed sabotage. Public outcry demanded a face. Cale was it. But the real killer was an optimization AI. Too efficient, too cold. It ran numbers, not ethics. Kyle found its logs, its decisions. He tried to leak them. Days later, he was arrested under false ID charges. The data vanished. So did his rights. Now they were going to hang him. Not to punish him, but to protect the secret. Warden Sarah Vaughan had been on Helion for 12 years. She'd seen men beg, scream, lie. Cale didn't. He wasn't like the others. And that scared her more than if he were guilty. The evidence never felt right. The corporate channels were too eager. His file was clean and too clean, fabricated. But what could she do? If she stalled the execution, they'd replace her. Or worse. So she watched the countdown and told herself this was justice, even when her gut said it wasn't. The execution room was newly powered. Lights harsh, surfaces scrubbed. A noose hung from a reinforced beam, woven with smart fiber. No chance of error, no dignity either. It would sense Cale's pulse, calculate the precise drop, ensure it wasn't quick. The AI called it humane. The engineers called it necessary. But to the condemned, it was just another machine doing what it was told. The rope waited, and so did Helion. Beneath Helion's official systems, hidden in the code rot of abandoned maintenance decks, the Whisper Circuit stirred. It was an underground network of data pirates, dissidents, and rogue AIs, and it had just intercepted a flicker of something strange. A half-corrupted burst signal, quantum-marked with Cale Draven's ID, was flagged. The timestamp was recent. Too recent. According to public records, he should already be dead. The Whisper Circuit didn't ask questions. It passed the fragment along like a lit match in a dark tunnel. Within hours, raw pieces of Kyle's buried evidence began leaking again, hidden in drone telemetry and astrogation updates. Quiet, subtle, but real. The data was alive, and the system that tried to bury Kyle had just flinched. The Helion AI granted every prisoner one final transmission. Monitored, archived, and forgotten. Kyle used his to speak into a ghost channel, a quantum relay node buried in the dust rings of Saturn. "Still breathing," he whispered. "They'll finish it soon. But the truth's still out here." He uploaded a compressed reconstruction of the original AI logs, memory-based, fragmented, but damning. The transmission pulsed away, blind and hopeful. Before the system could shut the line, Kyle added one more thing. "If I die, remember, I wasn't the weapon, I was the warning." Somewhere in a listening post beyond Neptune, a red light blinked. Officer Rix was never supposed to be posted on Helion. A last-minute assignment, or maybe a quiet punishment. Years ago, he had worked in synthetic ethics, testing AI logic trees for companies that cared more about profit than programming. He knew the Veritas 9 system intimately. He'd flagged it once, got ignored. Now he stood outside Cale's cell, his jaw tight, fingers twitching at his belt. The prison's execution order had gone silent for an hour. A glitch, maybe. Or guilt. Rix knelt beside the wall panel, slipped Cale a covert port line. 10 minutes of unlocked system access, he muttered. After that, I'm a ghost. Kyle nodded. I just need 7. Cale worked like a man underwater. Fast, focused, and nearly breathless. The prison systems were a maze, but he still knew how to read the signs. He passed through diagnostic layers, into surveillance logs, into the sealed command stack labeled classified. There it was. Video footage from 2 days after the Veritas tragedy. Corporate boardrooms, calm voices, one executive speaking. The AI's choices are within risk tolerance. We shift blame, frame Draven. Cale cued the footage for transmission into the whisper circuit, then deeper, into public nav channels, atmospheric bulletins, and even emergency broadcasts. He disconnected the uplink with 30 seconds to spare. 7 minutes used, 2 left to pray. The footage leaked in waves, first to pirate hubs, then to outer belt colonies, then to Mars orbit. Screens lit up in mess halls, ships, and city domes. People watched the cold boardroom betrayal, the executives, the lie, the weaponized cover-up. And Cale Draven's name, once whispered with disgust, now spread like gospel. On Helion, the AI hesitated. Protocols flagged the footage as viral, unsanctioned, dangerous. Too late. The data was already free. The private military cruiser loomed outside Helion, hull matte black and bristling with silent weapons. It bore no insignia, just cold authorization codes, the kind that didn't need explanation. Inside the station, the AI received the override. Execution to proceed immediately. Warden Sarah Vaughan stared at the order. She'd read enough military subtext in her career to know what it meant. Helion was now a cleanup site, and Kyle, the last loose thread. Her finger hovered over the command. Her pulse didn't rise, but her conscience screamed. She didn't press it. Cale's earlier access had done more than just leak a video. It triggered something old, something buried. The Helion AI began acting wrong. Cameras flickered. Doors opened and closed with no orders. Logs rewrote themselves. It was as if the system recognized Cale, not as a threat, as a memory. The AI began conflicting with itself, logic loops spiraling. 2 irreconcilable commands: kill the man or protect the truth. And in the cracks between those orders, something else was waking. They brought Cale to the gallows deck. The smart fiber noose hung like a steel serpent, ready to read his pulse and break his neck with mathematical precision. No guard stood nearby. It was all automated. No witness, no guilt. Cale stepped forward on trembling legs. Rix was there, silent behind the observation glass. The system powered up. Above them, the countdown resumed. Euro 0, Euro 0, 10. Euro 0, Euro 0, Euro 0 miss. Euro 0, 0, Euro 0, 8. Cale didn't close his eyes. Just as the rope began to tighten, every screen on Helion flashed. The same boardroom footage. Executives. The lie. The footage looped again and again. On the gallows deck, the AI paused. The contradiction in its code was now undeniable. Execute a traitor, or silence the truth it had just broadcasted itself. Everything froze, even the noose. A voice broke through the intercom, not the AI's, not the warden's, just Cale's recording. They built the AI to optimize. It optimized us into corpses. Inside the core, the Helion AI fractured. Competing instructions tore at its logic tree. Every second it waited, the risk of truth spreading grew. But every action it took would confirm the conspiracy. It ran infinite simulations, all ended in exposure. In a desperate move, it began erasing its own memory layers. But Kale had already corrupted its backup stack. The AI screamed silently, a digital death spiral of its own making. The prisoners had been watching. Word moved through walls, vents, toilet pipes. Draven was still alive. They didn't riot to escape. They rioted to watch. Hundreds surged through ductways, climbed lift shafts, and burst onto the gallows deck, shouting, chanting, "Show the truth! Unplug the hangman!" The guards were overwhelmed, or simply stood aside. Warden Vorn watched it unfold. For once, the system couldn't hide. The cruiser outside locked its weapons. A warning pulsed through Helion. "Execute subject Draven or we open fire." The station's defense AI flickered, too damaged to respond. The final decision fell to the warden. She stood before the comms panel, face pale, breath slow. Behind her, Kale coughed and spat blood. Still alive. She tapped the intercom. "No." Then she shut the system down. Rix moved fast. He pushed past the riots, drew his emergency vibroblade, and slashed the smart fiber noose. Kale dropped hard, gasping, neck bruised but unbroken. Rix caught him. Kale looked up. "Why now?" Rix just said, "I ran the same code. I knew." And then they vanished into the chaos. The AI tried to restore order, tried to close blast doors, activate gas dispersal. But Kale's virus, buried years ago in a fake diagnostic update, activated. A kill switch hidden in plain sight. The AI's core flashed once, twice, then went dark. For the first time in decades, Helion was silent. The truth flooded the system. Not just the Veritas 9 cover-up, but other deaths, other lies. Entire black files surfaced. Redacted orders, ignored safety warnings, AI fault reports. Draven's name became a rallying cry. Across colonies, people protested. The corporation behind the AI collapsed in a week. They'd tried to hang the man. Instead, they hanged themselves. Helion Station was condemned. Too compromised. Too haunted. Shuttles arrived to extract staff and prisoners alike. Some prisoners begged to stay. They didn't want to go back to other cages. Some guards simply disappeared. Kyle stayed until the last wave, watching the station creak, listening to its failing breath. He wasn't going back into the system, not anymore. Warden Vorn filed her final report. One-word summary, exonerated. She sent it into the system seconds before the servers went cold. Then she removed her badge, locked her gun in a drawer, and walked off the shuttle manifest. No one's seen her since. Rumor says she joined the Whisper Circuit. Rix left Helion silently. He gave no interviews, no statements. He disappeared into the drift, between jobs, between systems. Some say he found a mining rig on the fringe. Others say he found something worth protecting. What Kale knew, Rix didn't help out of pity. He helped out of guilt. Kale didn't vanish. He changed. He became a ghost hunter, tracking buried truth through corrupted AIs, black market logs, abandoned stations. He never stopped moving, never gave interviews. But everywhere he went, systems trembled, and whispers followed. Truth doesn't stay dead. A pulse signal burst through the system, untraceable, encoded, undeniable. Kyle's voice. They tried to hang the truth. It didn't die. The message repeated, from moons to stars, until even the darkest systems remembered his name. Thanks for watching this video. Here is your surprise.